All right, so today we are going to make a fun variation on the Tangle OAO. Stands for one and only, which is super cute. I did a full demo on it on the Peaceful Patterns Challenge. If you guys want to check out that video, I'll add a link. But I really wanted to play with it some more. So let's see what I can end up with. So we're going to start. I'm going to try to find the center of my paper. The easiest way for me to do that is just to do an X. Not so worried about how long it is or the strength of it is, because really all I'm wanting is to know that that's my center. So now that I know that's my center, I'm going to go ahead and take an 03 pen. And the way I do it, the 2-inch mark, and just do 1 inch above and 1 inch below. And we'll go ahead and we'll do the same thing here. I can line this up right with that line and know that I'm straight to at least that line, if not the paper. And then we're going to do the same thing here. We're going to go the 2-inch line. I can line up my ruler and go 1 inch above and 1 inch below. And the same. There are certain patterns that are just much easier done if you have a good solid start. And that's what this does for me. This gives me a good solid foundation to start from. And then we'll see where we end up. I'm just going to erase a little bit of that extra line on there, just so I don't confuse myself later. And we have a good solid line. So from here, let's go ahead and put a top on each one. And that top on each one is going to have a bit of an arc. Now the variation that inspired this is on tanglepatterns.com. When you look at the OAO Tangle, I know they do always ask us not to produce their versions online. That is their creative property, so I want to make sure I don't do that. But there's no step as to how she did the variation, so I can't tell you exactly how she did it, but this is how I recreated it, and then we're just going to take it into a different area anyway, so it's not the same. So then on every other section, we're going to do about in the middle, just pretty close to the middle. We're going to do a simple swirl, and then we're going to come up and meet it. And we want that little gap there. That gap will be darkening in. So a simple swirl, and then we're going to come up and meet it. Ooh, that one's a little higher than the others, but I think we'll be okay. Okay, so now we have those gaps. So now what we're doing is we are filling in that gap. This one's bigger than the others, but I think in the end it'll all work out because we will adjust each one to look the way we want it to. So we have a good, strong, solid swirl, and I'm going to continue it into the little section next to it. Just like that. So we're going to start by coloring it in, thickening the line if we need to, continuing it on, rounding out that line into the section next to it, and then fading it in to that. So then that's got that solid. We're going to round that out as well, and then kind of fade that thicker line in. And get that faded in as well. Very nice. Okay, so there we go. That's where we have that for there. I like this to be just a little bit thicker as well, so we're going to go ahead and just go over it a few times. I'm going to stay with this 3 pin and just try real hard to go slow so I can have it nice and firm with just a little bit of a variance. There we go. Sometimes when you're making these changes and you're wanting something to be a little bit thicker, it's better to do it over 3 or 4 times over it, adding just the tiniest bit each time until you get the thickness you want. Now you can see I am smearing this black just a little bit. I'm having, I do have a little bit of black on my hand, so let me get that washed off. I must have touched some ink that I definitely shouldn't have. All right. I'm not going to worry about that for this project. I'm certainly not going to start over because of it. We'll call it shading later. But for now, it's okay with me. This project is just for the fun of drawing. I'm probably not using this in anything or sharing it. So from here, we got to kind of decide where we want to go next. I'm going to go ahead and give me a little bit better of a center. That will probably grow as I keep going, but we'll see. Now let's go ahead and do an aura on the outside. On the auras, it's important to have your arm be comfortable and be able to have a good range of motion with your arm. And then you have to take it nice and slow. Auras can look great, or they can make a project look sloppy. Mine tend to sometimes do both. Okay, not my best, but certainly not my worst. So then on the lines that I don't have the curve, so on these straight lines, let's continue this over and do an S. So I'm actually starting up high into that arc, and that way I know it'll look like it's continuing to draw. And I think that just makes a great curve, and it adds a great shape to this. These can be continued in. We'll probably take a small pin and clean them up just a little bit so we can make them look nice and smooth and clean. That is hard to do with a thick pin, but if you go in with a fine pin, it's much easier. So now we have that. So I think what I would like is a nice solid circle at the base of every swirl. I kind of wanted to blend and to go in with that. Then let's do a ball at each meeting. And as always, I am just drawing whatever comes to my mind when it comes to my mind. I don't have an end project in mind. Just a variation off of that super cute tangle that I've been working on. So, all right, now let's go ahead and do 2 like that. Then we'll do 2 more a little farther out. As I'm working to improve this year and to get art that I'm happier with each year, it becomes very important for me to slow down and be very purposeful about my drawing. I enjoy talking to you all as I draw. I think of whoever might be watching it. I always wonder what country you could be in or what city you could be in. If you wouldn't, if you felt brave or wouldn't mind, I'd love to know who you are and where you are when you're watching these. But you can just leave me a comment if you would be brave enough to let me know. But I think of you all as I'm doing these. Having said that, there are some times when I try really hard to not talk so that I could try to get my spacing right and my line right. Now right now my hand is hot tired, which means I'm holding my pen way too tight. My shoulder muscles are way too tight. And it's all because I want this to look good. I want it to be a drawing that I'm proud of and I'm happy of. So now we have those nice little descending circles along the outside. So let's go ahead and do one more or maybe two, but let's do another or, but this time I'm going to switch back to my 08 pen and do one that's nice and thick. That balance of light and dark on all these papers are important. So again, I'm going to try to find that spot that's most comfortable for my arm. And I'm probably not going to talk through these. Alrighty, that's that. And then if you notice, what I did is rather than doing a true aura here in the middle, I came to just a point. So it really is much more of a flower on the outside than it is a aura on the outside. Now the decision comes, do I want to do one more aura or do I want to keep it like that? Let's do this. Let's do one more aura, but let's go all the way down to an 01 pen. Let's do a super fine pen. Now the problem with using a super fine pen is it will show every mistake you make. Thicker pens are far more forgiving. So once again, let's go ahead and just listen to some music and let's see if I can do these auras nice and slow. Whew, that felt like it took forever. It felt like I had 80 lines to little petals to go over than just the few I had. But there we go. I think that looks cute. I like the way that's looking. Let's do one more. Let's be crazy. Let's do one more. There we go. Auras are wonderful. And if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling like, I know like I had nightmares last night, if you're feeling like you might have something on your mind, doing auras are perfect because you really, at least I do, have to think to try to keep them nice and even. So I'm going to go back and pay a little more love to my circles here, making them a little bolder, a little stronger, a little more circle, a little less abstract. And there, I like that. We'll see where we go from there. For now, I'm thinking, now that I have this thin pen, what if we went back in and we continued and we oraed that S? So I'm going to go back up. And I oraed the S and I tried to start on the line and then end on the line. So starting on the S and ending on the S. That one's a little thicker than I would like, but I think they turned out pretty well. So I do feel like I need something in here. And And I do feel like these lines need some definition. So let's do the lines first, because I'm really not sure if what I want to do in here will work. I'm thinking of doing like a nice little, oh my gosh, to me they always look like a little tadpole shape. I'm not really sure what the shape is, but they don't always turn out for me. So I don't want to, I'm enjoying this drawing. I don't want to mess it up. So we'll think on that a little bit longer. Decide if that's what I truly want to try. Clean that up a little bit. And then what I think I'd like to do is on this row two, these two right here, give myself a kind of a jagged line there and a jagged line there, and then fill in on the outside of each of those jagged lines. And what that will do is make almost like a little light spot on it. So I'm going to always try to have the light spot be towards the right side. So that's kind of how I started that one. Not exact by any means. I like for that light spot to be jagged rather than a clean straight line. It's just a personal preference. Ooh, that's an awful skinny area. So I think I'll make the white spot a little bit bigger. Ooh, that was a mistake too. So not exactly the way I would have liked the white spot because I went too dark on top of it, but as I tell myself on these type things is that once it's all done, I probably won't even notice it. And if I do, it's okay. There are parts of our life where making a mistake just isn't acceptable. We're just not allowed to make a mistake in that. It's just too important. This is one area of my life where I can make all the mistakes in the world. There is no pressure. And occasionally the mistakes we make here turn into our favorites. So okay, there. I like that. I like that a lot. So the question is, do we want to do that again on this very outside line? I'm leaning towards I maybe do. So when I do it again on this outside line, I think what I'm going to try to do is make sure that my light spot is somewhat in line. And I don't want to do it on the line where the thick pin was. I want to do it on the line with the two thin ones. So we'll do our jagged lines there. And we'll carry it right in. And this is interesting up here because I was thinking of it as the same half circle, but it's not. It goes into the center. So we'll just let that border out. The nice thing about leaving this light spot is if I end up not liking it, I can easily cover it up. But if I cover the whole thing to begin with, then of course I no longer have that option. So we'll give ourselves that option. I'm not sure if I'm going to like the light spot on this outside rim. But we'll see. people, when they do this art, they can kind of visualize in their mind how it will look at the end. That is not me. That is not something I can do. So I never exactly know what one line after the next is going to end up looking like. It's kind of a surprise to us all with what we end up. However, right now I am leaning towards not liking it. But we'll see. I am tempted to go and get a bigger pin, a thicker nib on the pin. This is a 3, like maybe going to a 5. But I'm not going to because I don't want to mess up. So I'll just take my time. And we'll see where I end up. When I got way too deep there by mistake. Alright, that's where that is. And yeah, I don't think I like it. I think I am going to color that in, but I'm going to go ahead and tell myself to wait just a little bit longer, just to make sure that's what I want to do. So now we're back to that center spot. What do I want to do with it? Let me try drawing them in a pencil. Like I said, they're kind of like a little, I don't know what shape that is. Fish or tadpole or I don't know what type of shape that is. It's a fish or a tadpole or something like that. But my concept is to have that and then to maybe have even a circle. Right under there. So let's give it a try. Let's be brave. I'm going to go back to that PN pin and hope that it'll give me the point that I'm wanting. Then I'm going to give myself a light spot. I'm going to see if I can get it to come down to a point. Kind of like that. That's kind of what I'm rooting for. So let's go ahead and color this in. I've decided I definitely don't want that. We'll kind of clean up this row as we go. So we have this one right here that's not colored in as well, that bottom one. Let's color that in too. There we go. I may still come back and color in that light spot too, but for now, that's acceptable. Let's go ahead and clean up these. Oops. About made the decision on that one by coloring one in by mistake. I try to make that light spot bigger than I actually want it. That way I can shape it later. Of course you can't put back, but you can always take away. Okay. Now back to cleaning up. And we'll go back and give ourselves these circles. For now I'm leaving them open, but I probably will be coloring those in. I'm not sure what light source would only hit that middle line. So I'm probably breaking every art rule there is, but I'm surprisingly okay with that. Notice how these are a little bit bigger than those, but that's okay. This is the one where I messed up the light on that one. So there's no point in really touching it. Just leave it as it is. I don't think I can fix that. I want to thank all you who have reached out and let me know that sometimes my audio is a little problematic, shall we say, a little difficult. Part of it is as I start to draw and I calm down and I slow down, my pitch and my volume gets slower. I get a little, I mumble more is part of it. Part of it is the microphone that I'm using. So I do have a new microphone that's coming in this week. So hopefully we'll see a little bit of an improvement. There we go. I think that is super fun. Good strong center circles. I'm going to do one more right here on each one. Yeah, I like it. We're going to go back to our 3-pin. And do 3 little rainbow type lines. What is your go-to number when you're doing your art? Oh, I missed one right there. It'll take a little bit longer, but I can do the circle with just this pin. I don't have to go to the 8. I tend to do things in 3s. That is definitely my go-to number. I think that's pretty common. But how do you like yours? My husband likes even numbers. He would want his done in even numbers. There. Super fun. Let's give this just a second to some of that darker ink, those big black circles to dry. Then we'll do just a little bit of shading. So I'm not real sure how I want to shade this. I think I would like some shading on the inside of these circles. So I'm going to lay down just a little bit of pencil there. So we can have some nice shading in there. Maybe on the bottom side of this S. So I can put a little bit there. Oh my goodness. Did you guys notice this? Have you been screaming at me? I never filled in these. It is so funny when I go and do the editing and I look back at these and I can see where I went the whole thing and I didn't color one in. I didn't color a certain thing in, or a circle thing, or something that's colored in on all of them, but my eyes completely overlooked it. And you know what? Now that I have this in my hand, I can't help myself. I want dots on the ends of these. I've been doing this lately, and I just love the finished way it looks. I do need to slow myself down a little bit though, because if I don't, it won't look like a circle. It'll look just like a blob. I wonder how those lines would look if I drew the circle and then the line. I'd have to try that in the future. Let's get one of our little teeny tiny tortillas. This is just a small paper, so I think that'll be fine. And let's start with kind of where I knew I wanted it, which is the inside of these swirls. And then maybe just some of the excess on the inside of the others. Then we did this shading on the bottom. And then we can pull it out. Kind of like that. And I'm going to just do a whole little shade on this bottom circle. Now what if we did just a little bit of the excess under each of these little, well, they're looking to me like whales today, so I'm going to call them little whale shapes. Just let them, give the impression of them floating a little bit more. Now, how should we shade these outside lines? I'm going to guess we should put it in the centers. So I'm just going to very, very softly lay down some miscellaneous graphite in the centers, and then I'm going to get I think I'm going to go to a little bit of a thicker blending tool and really work to spread them out. Really work it into the paper. And this is one where I'm definitely going to want the center clean. So we're going to come back and we're going to clean up that center real well. That way any accidental bleed over the pencil, we're going to erase right out. Artists I watch online who does a lot of the pencil work. It's just amazing. Always uses a paintbrush to kind of get his crumbs off from the eraser so that it doesn't mess up the... Clean that up a little bit as well. Oh, I like that. What do you think? Do you like that? And I found something else I didn't clean up, which was this outside line here. So let's get that done. And let's add just a little bit of pencil right underneath. I'm using an HB and I'm laying it on pretty thick, but I'm only going to spread it out just a tiny bit. Because remember, you don't have to spread anything out. So if you want it just to be that super fine point, that's okay. Back to my tiniest little tortilla here. I'm going to spread it out just a little bit. Just that bottom one has some shade. I think that's going to be it. What do you think? I hope you like it. I had great fun doing it. I want to give out a special thank you to Kaori Nagasaku, who created the OAO tangle that led to this inspiration. Could barely see the little hearts that we started with. I kind of took it in a different angle, but that's the beauty of Zentangle, is you get to do that. So check back with me. We have some other fun stuff coming up planned in the future, and we'll see you on the next one. Bye.